Evening, everyone. Sir, can we start the program?
Yes.
Can I request our distinguished guest to please switch on the camera?
Yes.
Poonam ma'am, do we have you with us? Sir, I'll just give her a call and then ensure that she's there in the program. I'll just give her a call, sir.
Yeah, just connecting, huh? Just connecting.
Okay, ma'am.
Just hold on. There is some little.
No issues, ma'am.
क्या कोइंसिडेंट है?
जी सर. Sir, अभी तो मैम का कैमरा भी ऑन था and mic was also properly working. Yeah, ma'am is there with us. Okay. So shall I start the program, sir, with the due permission?
Yes, ma'am. Kiran Gupta ji, should we start? Ma'am Kiran Gupta.
Ma'am, shall we start the program?
मैडम तो लगता है
Below, I am visible, no?
Yes, ma'am, you are visible.
Yeah, thank you.
So shall I start the program?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. It is my proud privilege and pleasure to wish this August gathering a very happy Women's Day on behalf of the family of Law Center 2, Faculty of Delhi, Faculty of Law. Though the aura exhibited by a woman cannot be circumscribed in few words, but to make an attempt, I would like to quote that woman is one who is a believer. She is the one who's a doer. She is the one who's an achiever. She is one without whom even a hero can become zero. Because if we read the definition of hero, hero includes her. If we take out her, it only remains to be a zero. Whatever role she plays in our life, she is no doubt always adding meaning to our lives. So on this note, I wish everybody a very, very happy Women's Day. And I extend my warm greetings to this August gathering, our distinguished guest, Ms. Poonam Bamba ma'am, our another distinguished guest, Ms. Aishwarya Bhati, our professor in charge, Professor Mahavir Singh, Dr. Kiran Gupta, the program director, and I extend my warm greetings to all my learned colleagues and dear students. Over to you, sir, for your welcome address.
Thank you, Dr. Beluji. Honorable distinguished guests, our esteemed colleagues and dear students, very, very good evening, all of you. It's a very proud moment for me that we are having so distinguished guests at Law Center 2. Law Center 2 is having its own, very, we could say, very, very glorious history, because it had started at Dholakua in 1971, and nowadays we are celebrating our Golden Jubilee, and it has been shifted to a North Campus in 2018. It's very delighted moments for us, in case if we recall the achievements of Law Center 2, that Law Center 2 had produced so many bureaucrats, judges, academicians, and renowned advocates. And we are here to boast and to claim that Law Center 2 had a very brilliant students, like bureaucrats, like you could say IPS officers, even governor. And today's governor, Brigadier B.D. Misra had been remained our student. And I'm right now, after joining, I can share one my ring from my student who had been remained our student, who is now IG in Haryana, IPS senior IPS officer. Earlier he was our student at LC2, and now his son is our student in Faculty of Law, University of Delhi. So you know that it's LC2 is having its own history and very glorious history, and that's why we are celebrating our Golden Jubilee by organizing various various academic programs. It's debate and discussion, or you could say it's a seminar, conference, etc. For the last few months, that, and it will be completed in August 2022. Today, fortunately, in this celebration, we could say the celebration of the Golden Jubilee, we are having another important event or important occasion of the International Women's Day. So we are, we could say, fortunate enough that we are going to celebrate this International Women's Day as a part of our Golden Jubilee. And it is a moment of great pleasure that Family of Law Center 2 has gathered to mark the occasion and celebration of International Women's Day. And on this special occasion or special day, we have two special women guests who have made a mark in their respective fields. Our first speaker is respected Mrs. Poonam Bamba, Ma'am, former District and Session Judge, Saket Court, New Delhi. Madam did her LLB, LLM, Faculty of Law, University of Delhi. Joined Delhi Higher Judicial Services on 5th December 2002. Worked as ADJ, Matrimonial Court at Tisazari Courts, Delhi from 2003 to January 2006. Worked as Additional District Judge, Land Acquisition Court, and also dealt with appeals under the Eviction of Unauthorized Occupants Act of 1971 at Tisazari Courts, Delhi from January 2006 to November 2008. Worked as Additional Sessions Judge in Patiala House Court, New Delhi from November 2008 to February 2010. Worked as a Judge Family Court, Rohini, from 2010 to 2012. Lastly, Ma'am has authored many books on burning and pertinent issues. I extend my warm welcome, Ma'am, to you again and again, and you know that it's
Thank you so much.
so proud for us that you are with us. Our second speaker, our second distinguished guest for the day is Mrs. Aishwarya Bhati, who will be joining us shortly, and born and brought up in the beautiful Sun City, Jodhpur, in a traditional family with strong culture and value system, which was also an Indian Air Force family. Aishwarya chartered her professional journey as litigation lawyer. She has the distinction of being the youngest woman lawyer and the only one from Rajasthan to be conferred the designation of senior advocate from Supreme Court of India. She is also one of the youngest additional Solicitor General of India and fourth woman in the country to occupy this coveted position. I, Professor Mahavir Singh, being professor in charge of Law Center 2, extend my warm welcome to our esteemed guests and request them to share their views on this special occasion marking the celebration of International Women's Day as a part of our Golden Jubilee of Law Center 2. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you again and again. And we, warm welcome both of you again and again at our center. Thank you. Over to Dr. Belu Gupta ji.
Thank you so much, sir, for your warm welcome address. Now, before asking and requesting ma'am to hold on the floor, I would just add more few things what have been told told to us by a professor in charge. To name a few to credit of ma'am, ma'am has done her BSc Botany from Hansraj College. She has practiced as an advocate in Delhi District Courts and High Court of Delhi for about 5 years. Also worked as a law officer and Deputy Chief Officer of Law with Punjab and National Bank. Ma'am has also worked as a Division Chief Legal and Joint Legal Advisor with Securities Exchange Board of India, SEBI. And ma'am has also been ma'am has been the Principal Judge, Family Court, South District Court, Saket. And then ma'am finally joined as Districts and Sessions Judge, Southeast Court, Saket, Districts and Sessions Judge, New Delhi District at Patiala House. So we welcome you, ma'am. But before we welcome you, I need to mention those few books which have been authored by you, but very beautiful books have been authored by you. To name a few: Perfect Marriage, Not a Mirage, How to Save Your Marriage, Temple of Justice, A School of Life, Parents at War, Custody Battles in Indian Courts. Ma'am was also recognized as one of the best athletes in law faculty while she was a student in Campus Law Center. Ma'am had been a keen observer of life and nature and evinces special interest in dynamics of human relationship. We welcome you, ma'am, and I request your kind self to kindly enlighten us and our students.
Here, Dr. Belu Gupta, I could not restrict myself again to mention that after knowing these kind of achievements and the journey which was covered by our esteemed guests, I could say today it's a real meaning of celebration of International Women's Day, because these kind of achievements, why we celebrate the Women's International Day, so that we could make women more and more powerful, empowerment of women, and that it's proud for the society that we are having this kind of personality who did a lot in our life. And I salute madam again and again, both of you. Thank you.
Over to you, ma'am, respected ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for such kind words. Namaskar, everyone. And I am deeply honored, I would say, to be invited to my own alma mater. And I was very, very happy when Dr. Belu contacted me and quite excited that I will get to visit the faculty. But it was revealed that it is an online thing, but that is also anyway very, very welcome. And I congratulate Dr. Mahavir Singh ji, Kiran Gupta ji, and all faculty members on completion of this Golden Jubilee. Accomplishing the Golden Jubilee of establishment of Law Center number 2. It is my pleasure, and I am deeply, deeply indebted for this opportunity given to me today to interact with the professors here who had been my, gurus, and also the students who are now the next millennia. I may mention at the outset, I feel it is good to gather once a year so that we can connect to each other. But I sincerely feel that we need to, keep this conversation on with ourselves, with others on the constant basis. Otherwise, this simply becomes a formality or just, empty discussion that we gather one day, which is anyway a beautiful thing to do. But such discussions, such bonhomie should continue on everyday basis, because we empower each other. We are each other's support and each other's encouragement. I will mention here, it reminds me when I joined Delhi Higher Judicial Services in 2002, I shifted from Mumbai to Delhi along with my younger son, who was just 3 years old at that time. And in the interregnum, I was putting up with my parents. So my old friend, whom I was connecting after almost, I can say, 10 years, got in touch with me and she asked, do you want me to take you out on Saturday or your son out? I really lapped up that offer given to me. She was so sweet that she would come to my parents' house, pick me and my son up from there, take us to Ansal Plaza, where they had a play area for children, so that my son could enjoy his, company of his own age, and while we sipped coffee and unwinded. So now, if I remember this gesture, beautiful help extended to me without my asking by an old friend, even after 20 years, it means you do connect. So this is how we need to support each other. I did not even ask her. It was just an interaction that I'm back in Delhi. She was so thoughtful that she on her own said, let us go out, your son can play. And so he on the weekend would enjoy these outings. And she dutifully continued till I shifted to my own house and my rest of my family shifted to Delhi. This is one incident which comes to my mind. And another, that I developed some tooth issue. And another friend of mine, who was at that time still with SEBI, but posted in Delhi, she would accompany me to dentist. She said, I can come with you. People, I get little traumatized visiting a dentist. So her moral support and her presence, of course, दांत तो खुद ही ठीक करना है और निकालना है. But this gesture of a friend was, if somebody remembers, it means it had really mattered for me in that point of time. So this is how we need to connect. And that is what celebration of, friendship or the woman protective circle. We should be able to, cooperate, empower others. So I may be a little digressing, Dr. Beluji and Kiranji.
So, ma'am, we're enjoying your experiences. Please,
Excuse me for that, but
no,
I
ma'am.
feel what comes to my mind, I would share how we make a circle, we talked of women empowerment. It really empowered me. I didn't have to think, I didn't have to bother anyone. My son was taken care of. My health was taken care of. So this is the kind of circle we need to create for each other to empower each other. And I also feel called on this occasion to share a very different perspective, which I carry. I feel every human being, irrespective of gender, has both the sides, masculine and feminine. So Women's Day for me is celebrating that feminine side of ours. And I'm so happy that Dr. Singh is here today, because I always said that why we exclude men, because we need actually to let them hear what is expected and what we appreciate about them. So Mahavir Singh ji's presence is truly welcome here, because now what I'm going to share is, as I said, it is absolutely gender unspecific. I have feminine and masculine in me. Mahavir Singh ji has the same thing, and everyone else has the same. Some are more masculine predominant characters, others would have feminine predominant characters. I'll just quickly refer to what is psychologically defined as masculine or characters. Masculine side of us is governed by left brain, and feminine side is governed by right brain. So left brain predominant people are more logical, more structured, more disciplined, more protective. And that is how we relate the masculine side of us. And feminine side is nurturing, creative, it's tender, compassionate, sensitive, affectionate, and intuitive. So if I have a logical mind more predominant, or I'm very structured, I may fall in the category of having more of masculine characteristics. Similarly, as we see these days, we all have, these characteristics in different percentages in us. So as you have seen these days, the designers in fashion industry, you find so many men involved in and creating beautiful dresses for women. So they have, उनमें जो स्त्रीय शक्तियां हैं वो प्रधान है. तो आज मेरे को लगता है ये जो हम सेलिब्रेट करना है ना, तो एक क्रिएटिव इंस्टिंक्ट को, नर्चरिंग इंस्टिंक्ट को we need to celebrate. It is not that female as a gender is being celebrated. Of course, when we talk of women empowerment, it has also another connotation which I'll touch upon a little later. Because of our cultural conditioning, societal conditioning. So taking into account these characteristics, traditional workplaces, honor masculine characteristics little more, like being structured, being disciplined, being logical. Whereas if you go to creative industry, they honor feminine characters, someone who is more intuitive, can create designs, can think originally, and is sensitive, and can tend, like film industries, when they make films, you can see when they talk of women issues, they have there have been movies, I won't go into all those details, time constraint being there. So how this are able to sensitively touch upon certain issues, feminine issues also, because they are creative. So this awareness helps us understand that no quality is superior or inferior. It is just is. It just is. If if some man breaks into, I still remember when I was in PNB, we had a boss of his own kind, that he would drive people to wall. So I later on found that we were in same position, me and my male colleague, that he was transferred but not relieved. And it was his daughter's birthday. I found him in tears. So many years later, when reflected on it, that how could I take and he could not take? So maybe I was able to work from, deal with that situation from a masculine characteristic, and he was more sensitive of this familial occasion, which he would be missing because of nothing, because of idiosyncrasies of a particular man. So coming to the point, there was nothing wrong if he cried, but this is how we perceive and we tell people, "Ye kya ladkiyon ki tarah rone lagte ho?" This actually, it is not a female thing, it is a feminine thing. If somebody is more emotional, it means he carries more of feminine side, jo feminine side zyada pradhan hai. And you must be seeing these days, I see in my own family, I find in some families, fathers are more caring. They take care of children's things more. If mother is engaged for a longer period due to work, they are able to even manage their tiffins, their clothes, everything. And sometimes I find the young mothers are not even aware of certain things, which traditionally our mothers were, in charge of. So now I think people are acknowledging this. So my point of telling this is just be aware. There is nothing wrong if you are predominantly very logical and structured and want everyone to be, or if you are very sensitive or very affectionate, there is nothing wrong in it. It is just that you need to know what is your innate trait. एक चीज और, ये फेमिनिज्म और वुमेन डे और वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट को लेके कई लोग, कई लड़कियों को, कई यंगस्टर्स को क्लैरिटी मुझे लगता है नहीं होती. We try to, take on or try to put on a cloak to look very strong or to look very determined, whereas from inside that strength is lacking, which leads to, inner conflict. So my point here is just recognize what you are, respect your own traits, and I'll just share a small story which will make it clear as to how, when we try to be what we are not, we meet a fate which is unimaginable. And an English woman, she had developed some health issue, so she visited a healer. The healer got talking to her and asked her about the history of her, illnesses, injuries. He inquired as to narrate to him by and by, as the healers do, took her back by and by. And then when she was narrating, she herself realized that most of the injuries she suffered were on the right side of her body. She was amazed that she never noticed earlier that why was it happening. If she had a fracture, it was right foot. If he had backache, it was on the right side of her back. Similarly, when she reached that place and herself reflected what was happening, so healer brought her to point to recognize that actually she was suppressing her feminine energy, the right brain, that creative side, because she was in a very competitive field of profession, which required, all masculine energies to work, to move forth, to compete. So she kind of did not take care, that she was totally suppressing. So women empowerment does not mean you suppress what beautiful gift you have. I would say my books are all outcome of my observant nature, the creative side of me. So why should I suppress? If my judgment writing requires being very structured, thought clarity, logic, at the same time, if I give birth to these books, it satisfies my feminine energy to create something, to nurture something. So if you suppress any part, whether it is feminine or masculine, it will lead to issues with your physical and mental well-being. As now it has been, you can search, Google search, and you will find the imbalance of feminine and masculine energy can lead to what all. So coming back to the same point, that we today celebrate as Mother Earth is nurturing planet, a creating planet. So we respect today every feminine, everyone who has this energy, including Mother Earth, who gives us so much without asking, including our mothers who have nurtured us, who have created us. And now I hope this gives you a perspective. I just wanted to share what I thought. We must be aware Not that you have to do this or that. It is just to be aware what you are, basically what you are, what you internally feel, and give way to it. Don't suppress it. It is okay to be womanly or feminine. It is okay to cry. It is okay to be sensitive at times. And at the same time, it is okay to be bossy and, disciplinary. That is also okay when your position demands that. Now coming back to what I was requested to share, my experiences in the court. As the occasion is, let me also share one thing. The most common question which is asked whosoever meets is, how do you feel to be a woman judge? And it is not only the layman or the family members or the friends who get to talk to me. Even the fellow judges, like there were judges from UK who visited our court complexes. There were also judges from Sri Lanka and South Africa at one point of time. They tend to ask, how is it to be a woman judge in India? And if you can believe me, I can honestly tell, I had never been conscious of my gender when I sit on the dais. Never means never. The thought does not pass that it is a woman body sitting on the chair. Never been conscious of it. And you may call it very fortunate that I never had an experience of being taken for granted just because I'm a female judge. And I'm sure most of my colleagues feel the same way. I have not come across anyone who said that because I'm a woman, I'm dealt with like this. So fortunate maybe to be in Delhi judiciary, fortunate to be wherever I remain posted. I never had. And I'm sure maybe towards the end, Beluji can tell whether she was ever asked, are you a woman professor? How do you deal with it? I don't know. So rather, I didn't have to do something extra or something. I mean, I never felt compelled to do something better to be recognized as a judge. I did, what was required, and what I feel is call of a duty. That's all. Rather, let me put it here, I was able to better handle certain jurisdictions, like family courts. I still remember a senior colleague being posted in a family court jurisdiction, and he was jittery. He said, ma'am, ये कैसे हैंडल होगा? मैं ये फैमिली के ड्रामास नहीं हैंडल कर सकता. And I think I cannot explain in words. Somebody needs to sit in the courtroom, family courtroom, and see how the dramas are enacted. Drama does not mean it is false or true or dramatic. Drama as in how much of emotion is unloaded onto us in the courtroom, how much of negativity we handle, how much of name calling we handle. So that needs a different kind of, qualities, which I think that feminine energy really helps. You can relate with few things. Of course, every case is different, every facts are different. So this is how I did not ever feel that being a woman judge was something different from a judge. Now, let me share few cases which I found were very, very peculiar. So because I cannot see the students here, but I hope they are able to watch me.
Students are very much there. Students are very much there, yes.
Achha. Their videos, maybe, I don't know, I'm not able to see. Anyways, so in law schools, you all learn about laws. But I, having done law, then having practiced law, and then having adjudicated upon cases, I found true understanding of law sinks in only when you practice law or when you adjudicate upon law. The finer nuances become clear only when you are required to decide. because we decide for others, but we are responsible for our decisions. So you can understand these students when they visit. I'm sure some interns used to visit me in family court also and take notes and would come up and ask things. That is also experiential, but when you are required or called upon, then you will find, although law says so, but how does it apply, or how does it happen in such a situation? I will share 2-3 cases. The first was a Hindu Marriage Act. Are they studying in first year, Hindu Marriage Act?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So you must be aware that for divorce, cruelty is also one of the grounds for seeking divorce under Hindu Marriage Act, as well as other marriage laws of various religions. In a case for divorce, which was filed by a wife, on the ground that her husband had been involved in a case of abduction and murder of a 3-year-old child of a relative, and was in jail for last 5 years. So she said, how long can I wait, ma'am? She didn't know, her lawyer had made out a ground that this amounts to cruelty. I cannot be kept in limbo for another 9 years because he's already been convicted. So life imprisonment given, another almost 9 years unless he gets some remission. But the husband was very, very insistent. He didn't want divorce. They didn't have much dispute except for this crime in which he got involved. And wife also told the student must also be aware that counseling is required to be done. In all matrimonial cases, a family court judge is under a bounden duty to make an attempt at reconciliation, which also amounts to little counseling and understanding whether they can resolve the dispute or not. So husband in camera said that, ma'am, just give me some time. I will persuade her. I really love her. I really love my children. She had 2 children. And her point was, the moment he was sent to jail, she was sent away to her family, parental house, within a week or 10 days of his being sent to jail, and was living at her parents' house for last 5 years, and where she has widow mother, and 2 brothers. And it was the brothers who were supporting her and her children. So she said, how long can I be a burden on them? And then she also confided that her mother wants her to get settled. Settle means to get remarried after divorce. I just asked her one thing: what is the guarantee that the second marriage will prove to be a bliss if that husband does not take care of your children, or he does not love them? Where would you go? But she was in such a dilemma what to do. On one side is her widow mother, who wanted that within her lifetime, because she was already 75, she had also come. She said, if I die tomorrow, I do not know what will happen to her. So I want to see her settled during my lifetime. But the husband was insistent. He said, you just call my family. I will talk to them. They will provide something for her. Both sides, both families came. Husband's brothers came. His mother came. And mother said, what can I do or say? I am already dependent on my sons, other sons. And the brothers, they were all whispering into each other's ears, but it became clear that they were not ready to take responsibility of this woman and children. Now, you see, this is a simple case of divorce, seeking of divorce on the ground of cruelty. But there is so much of dilemma, human relationships involved. Wife still felt that my husband had not committed the crime, but he has taken upon himself somebody else's guilt, which he does not reveal to me. And it would have not served any purpose because he was already convicted. His case was not properly followed by his family members. And the wife was unable to do that kind of follow-up. Nobody used to go to meet him in the jail. Only the wife used to visit him, that too once in 2-3 years, 2-3 months. So this way it kept on going seesaw. The woman would, she will cry. And one day she asked me, ma'am, aap hi salah dijiye, kya karu main? Now just put yourself in that situation. आप क्या सलाह देंगे? आपको उसकी कैपेसिटी पता नहीं है. Will she be able to sustain herself in her brother's family? See, when I said cooperate or support each other, when we support each other, we have to keep in mind the capacity of the other to withstand whatever circumstances one is going through. If I say her, why do you bother? You just leave, you start working. But if she does not have the capacity to take on to her brothers who have supported her for 5 years, I cannot substitute my decision for hers. So I just asked her, why don't you take up some work and by empower yourself so that you can take some small accommodation? She said, my brothers did not allow me to work. I had proposed that. I said, why? She was quiet. Oh, brothers इतने प्रतिष्ठित थे कि उनको लगा कि अगर मेरी बहन काम करेगी तो लोग आसपास के और रिश्तेदार कहेंगे कि भाई कैसे भाई हो, आपके घर बहन आई तो उसको काम कराना है, भेज दिया आपने. So now you see how much of dynamics involved in a case which just involved one law, one clause, 1(1)(a), 14(1)(1)(a), 13(1)(1)(a), but you have to work upon it so much. So finally, the husband, I was later transferred. I did not know what happened subsequently, but the husband would cry. He says, ma'am, meri family mat break kariye. How do you go? And the wife will also melt. And then she will say, theek hai, phir dekhte hain. So by and by, what I'm saying is here, I want to just make one point here that economic independence gives you so much of liberty. Her economic dependence on the family actually incapacitated her decision making. She actually wanted that she was okay if the marriage continues, but was not unable to carry it forward. So please empower yourself, because economic independence gives you so much of freedom to decide. आपको किसी से जब हाथ नहीं फैलाना ना, तो आप अपना डिसीजन ले सकते हैं. ये नहीं कि आपने लड़ना है किसी से. Even if you are a homemaker, you should have that capacity. All of you are learning law. Only time will tell how many of you would like to, go in for practicing law or anything. But this case gave me one lesson, which I always share with the younger generation. See how financial dependence really crippled this woman's decision making. So I will just leave, and rest is for you to, figure out from this case. Now I share another one. That is another extreme. So I have picked a very peculiar cases, but that will give you a glimpse of how women go through what they go through for various reasons. There was another divorce case which was filed by the husband. Wife, in her reply, had also, while contesting that he should not be granted divorce, herself listed her, woes which ran into pages. And she gave list of cruelties inflicted upon her by her husband. But she did not agree for divorce. During counseling, I asked, the husband also said, ma'am, if she is so unhappy with me, she herself is saying, why she does not agree for dissolution of marriage. And I'm not commenting, not judging on anything. I will just share what she said. She said, ma'am, ye to remarriage kar lega, maze karega. तो मैंने कहा मजे करेगा, आप तो दुखी हैं इसके साथ. But this was her reason of not quitting a bad relationship, to continue to live in that bad relationship. And second was, she had two answers. One was this, and second was that हमारे यहाँ divorce नहीं होता. तो मतलब उसको ऐसा लगा कि divorce is a stigma. So I want to just pause for a while and say here, what she said was not incorrect few years back. I would say when I held family court, the matrimonial court at that time, family courts were not established in the year 2003. And when I held the family court again in 2010 and thereafter again in 2015, I found a sea change in the grounds of divorce, in the attitude. Earlier, the women would contest tooth and nail, fight that they don't want divorce because they didn't want a tag of divorcee. Whereas in the year 2010, I came across there were websites for remarriages, second time marriages, and the rate of divorce had increased. Earlier, you would find 7-8 साल के बाद लोग आएंगे. पहले 2-3 साल में कोई आता नहीं था. The whole family will get together, although there were many other reasons. But divorce was not a good tag to carry, whether it was a man or a woman, and more for a woman for traditional reasons. But now you find that, I'm sure since I left family court last, there must have been, the divorce rate had increased, and the divorces were taking place within first 2-3 years of marriages. Good or bad, some were good, because there was no point living in a relationship which kills you, which kills your dignity. So now sharing of this woman, that fellow started going into depression when she did not agree for it. So I am saying to the women, please do not compromise your dignity. Do not compromise your self-worth. When somebody is abusive, you lose your not only dignity, you start losing your self-confidence. I of course, I changed the facts a little so that the real identities are not revealed. There was a professor, a bright professor of Delhi University. She was at very young age, she got, this position, gold medalist. And she herself claimed that she suspected her husband to be having an extramarital affair. And it was the husband who had filed divorce. He said, when she herself claims that I am in an extramarital, why does she leave me? But she somehow felt very belittled that her husband has filed for divorce. She thought, I am, मैं बहुत छोटी हो गई कि मेरे को, she felt it like her rejection. So it is not your rejection. If you feel you are not happy in a relationship, if you feel that relationship is killing your dignity, then take a decision. Do not, go through a bad relationship and then turn into a nerve wreck. So over a period of 5 to 6 years, I found that professor, she herself once during, we have in-camera counseling and discussions, she broke down. She said, ma'am, पहले मेरे को अपने lectures तैयार करने में बिल्कुल भी दिक्कत नहीं होती थी. और कहीं भी मुझे invite करते थे, मैं जाती थी. और अब मेरा self confidence ही खत्म हो गया है. मेरे को confidence ही नहीं आता, मुझे कहीं से invite आता है to go and talk. So I'm saying, don't do this to yourself just because you don't want the other person to be happy. So this is I think younger generation, as I find, although some are rashly taking such exit routes, but some are moving out quickly without much hassles, because divorce is not such a bad word anymore. I'm not saying that we need to promote divorce. What I'm only saying is, let me make it very clear that please do not suffer a bad relationship. Take your call, you seek help. Seek help of friends, if not family. If family is not coming forth to support you, sometimes family feels belittled if the woman comes back. So that is what the first step I said, just empower yourself. And if you think the relationship is killing you as a person, do not try to suffer that. And now you may call it a very, it was a great lesson for me. The next one I'm going to share. The third case, husband had filed for a restitution of conjugal rights. Restitution of conjugal rights, I'm sure you must be aware. If you're not, it is somebody asking a spouse to come back who has deserted. So the wife refused to join, and during counseling she made clear that she cannot live with him because she had been adjusting. She was 12th pass. She was not working. They were living in a joint family which had parents-in-law, brother-in-law with his family, and this husband and wife and 2 children. She said, ma'am, he had been promising that he takes up one job, works for a month, quits it. Somehow he is not able to, earn or financially support me. Now in-laws realize this, that their son is not stable. And she said, now for last 8 years, he's trying, struggling, but no money for her children or for her. So she has to seek support from in-laws. In-laws were supporting her, but in bad moments, they would badmouth her कि तुम्हारे बच्चों को तुम कितना टाइम हम खिला सकते हैं, हम बूढ़े हैं, हमारी सेवा, all that. So she started feeling very humiliated. For some time she kept quiet for children's sake. She said, okay, he's making an effort. But then she said, ma'am, for 12 years, if he's only making efforts, and now I realize he has incapacitated himself from working. तो मैं कितने साल और मैं इस तरह की बातें अब और नहीं झेल सकती. I am also growing in age and my children are grown up. पहले छोटे थे, मैं ये बेइज्जती बर्दाश्त कर लेती थी क्योंकि उनकी फीस जाती थी, ये अभी भी जाती है. लेकिन when I am humiliated in front of children, I feel very small. So, and she confidentially shared that she has asked her friend is running some boutique and she will get some job, although she was 12th pass and had never worked in her life. तो husband was insistent कि नहीं मैम हम रह सकते हैं. तो डेट ली दोनों ने और 2 महीने बाद आए. तो मैंने वाइफ से पूछा भी हाँ क्या हुआ. She said नहीं मैम, I made up my mind, I cannot go back. I told you my reasons of not going back. Husband said नहीं ma'am, it was in separate sessions. Sometimes we call them together. And in confidence, he said, ma'am, she met me in the hospital, one hotel, and we shared physical relationship. How can she say that she doesn't want to live with me? I was aghast that this woman on one hand says, I cannot live. Then I called her and asked. She just kept quiet. She said, it is correct. We met. And about physical intimacy, she just kept quiet. And then she said, it is correct. So when I looked at her, I will just reproduce her words. कहती है मैम मैं ना I didn't want to quit a relationship on a bitter note. I wanted to quit on a happy note. तो my jaw dropped. I said, what should I say? I don't know. कहते ना वो एक गाना मुझे याद आ गया कि किसी रिश्ते को अगर what is that song के आप उसको अगर उसकी मंजिल तक नहीं ले जा सकते उसको एक खूबसूरत मोड़ देकर छोड़ना अच्छा. So I thought she lived that wisdom. But what I'm saying is you will find all these stories in my books. This gives different perspectives, with what you relate, how people deal with life in their own strange use. At times you find them strange. At time you find there is so much of learning. When her parting shot, this 12th standard woman passed to, she says, I didn't want to leave on a bitter note. I found it very, very mature and could not fathom कि कोई पढ़ा लिखा भी इस तरह की बात करता शायद. And I will now share one more dimension before I rest. Infidelity. See, in relationships, हम कितने भी एडवांस हो गए हो, आपने अगर देखा हो कि विदेशों में भी जो कपल्स हैं, nobody stands infidelity. Whenever there is some extramarital affair, they quit. आप कितने भी एडवांस हो, कितने भी ओपन सोसाइटी हो, but when you are in this relationship, you must have noticed many cases of celebrities abroad, celebrities in India who are much, I would say, living in an open society, so-called progressive thoughts. We think progressive thoughts. And also people like us, nobody stands any extramarital indulgence of the spouse. So I found the younger generation, you will be surprised to know that in the last few years, पहले तो जो जितने भी डिवोर्सेस लिए जाते थे, जनरली होता था भी सास ऐसे बोलती हैं, ससुर ऐसे कह देते हैं, ताना मार देती हैं, डाउरी के लिए बोल देती हैं, काम करने के लिए कहती हैं, ननद को नहीं कहती, हमें ही कहती हैं, मैं काम करके ऑफिस से आती हूँ तो एक्सपेक्ट करती हैं मैं ही डिनर बनाऊं. These were the grounds. And over a period of, a decade, these grounds have reduced to a great extent. एक तो nuclear families, most of the couples now you see, if at all they get into the joint family, they start living separately in a year or 2 years or 3 years. They move out. So these small little things have gone away. Now, what I found was the whole shift has been to extramarital alliance, and the technology has played havoc in the, I would say, matrimony. कितने ही cases मैंने I was in South District, South Delhi, साकेत में, तो मैंने देखा grounds ही बदल गई हैं. It was mostly infidelity, allegation of infidelity, extramarital affair, and lot of indulgence with the man or woman outside marriage over mails, over phone, over WhatsApp, over Skype. I mean, I don't know whether you heard of digital sex. That was a new dimension which came before me. So, and what happened, that was also a very interesting case and a learning how younger generation feels that if indulge or they visit certain certain kind of sites or indulge in, this kind of sexual indulgences over internet, where is the infidelity involved? I'm not going anywhere. They feel this does not amount to cheating. So this is the kind of perception the spouse against whom such allegations are made feel. It was a very eye-opening case. Husband was in merchant navy, used to remain away for longer periods. So this wife, although sometimes she would travel with him, she started connecting with her old classmate who was living abroad in US. And husband suspected that all the time during odd hours, she's on phone, because the time difference was there. When he would go to sleep, she would, converse sometimes through Skype. And what made her, the problem when arose, she used to use her husband's laptop, that residential laptop. So once it hibernated, she thought it is shut, or husband ne jab khola, to it got connected to the chat where she had left. And what she was doing, I mean, he had reproduced that conversation, and in that she was asking her boyfriend or whosoever, the friend, the earlier friend, what color of lingerie you want me to wear, and she would wear that and sit in front of, laptop camera. Husband also, contacted somebody, the investigative fellow, and installed. There is a software, or I don't know, hardware. It is called keylogger. It is a spy. It is a spy software. He put that in that laptop. The moment she will connect, everything will start getting typed it was simultaneously. If she types a message, that chat would continuously type on the husband's mobile phone. And he was showing, ma'am, pura akhbar ban jayega agar aap ye pura iska print lene lagenge. So the woman could not understand what is this hoo-ha about. She said, I did not go anywhere. If I'm talking to my old friend, does it amount to adultery or does it amount to indulging? So I said the younger generation needs to ask themselves. And this was not the only case. I found over a period of time, and this was one case pertained to which involved upper strata of society. I found even women in Push Bihar, there are certain colonies, resettlement colonies. She would get into the bathroom and use the phone for whatever purposes. And the husband had smartly put one, camera, hidden camera, and he next the photograph. So what I'm saying is, the technology now, I don't know if we have moved on further in last 5 years since I left the family court, but the technology gave a lot of freedom to people to indulge in whatever they thought was not harmful to other. And they also thought that they are not cheating, they are just enjoying. It is nothing extramarital. I am not going anywhere. So these are the cases I wanted to share with you, although this also amounts to cruelty and may squarely fall if it is proved. But what I'm trying to say, this is just one clause, but what is the panorama of cases you get in the courts under that one clause, and how you implement it while deciding cases?
Madam, can I interrupt?
Please do.
What is your opinion about these cases?
No,
does it amount to cruelty?
No, it would depend on the facts. As I said, it would depend on the facts. If the husband is able to demonstrate, that this was being done to me, and if she's, as I explained.
So it is not adultery.
It is not adultery. That is why I said cruelty. Adultery, it will not fall in adultery.
Yeah.
G. So I will quickly conclude of just a recap of what I said. See, be what you are. Work on your strengths, and I think your weaknesses will take care of. So women should, I always say, if you love yourself, if you respect yourself, you will be loved by others and respected by others. So, and be what you are. Don't try to be because we cannot be someone else. So as I said, don't worry about your weaknesses, as they call it. Work on your strengths. You will be much ahead. Economic independence is a great power. Not to suggest that, if you are not working, you are not valuable. I always salute homemakers. I always feel it is a thankless and endless job. But be empowered, that need be, you are able to, stand. It should not cripple your decision-making power. Most important now, you empower yourself, empower others. Whether it is your house help, whether it is your colleague, whether it is your subordinate, boost their morale. Appreciate them. At least I practice that, I can say. Whether it was my subordinate, I found creativity unleashed whenever I'll just give you a small example. I think you understand, Urli, that small pot we keep for decorating flowers in water. I somehow love that outside in my office. So one day I noticed that that fellow was not coming. So I said, who had decorated this so beautifully? I found it was my PS who had done it. And on the days when flowers were not there, she would decorate with leaves, sourced from our own court garden. And one day I just called her. I said, give me pictures. Sometimes we do it at home. So I got talking to her, and it was revealed that she was MSc in home science and had also done nursing course. I said, then what are you doing here? Doing a clerical job. Somehow she said, I got this job, then got married and never thought of it. But she felt so good and she started narrating, ma'am, मैं ये भी बना लेती हूँ, वो भी कर लेती हूँ, मैं paint भी करती हूँ. Then I told her, just paint this for me. And I wish I could show you the kind of painting she made for me. So this gave her so much of self-recognition. It was already there. I just touched it and she herself felt so good about herself, So you can appreciate, everybody as a human being, we all yearn for feedback. और मैंने आपसे बात की, I will yearn for feedback. आपको कैसा लगा? अगर मैंने ये किया, आपको कैसा लगा? Can I improve or is it good? How did you like it? So we can always give that feedback to anyone around us. So do it to your sisters, I would say brothers included, and cooperate, extend help. जैसे कि मैंने बताया, how my friends with whom I was connecting after almost a decade, just offered herself. It made my life so much easier. So be there for each other. It's a kind of empowering circle we create around wherever we are. So with this, I really thank the Law Center too for giving me this beautiful opportunity to connect with all of you. And, it felt like getting transported to your own institution. Someday I will surely physically visit and see the changes it has undergone. Thank you so much.
Sure, madam, sure. Thank you.
So
Thank
much,
you,
ma'am.
ma'am. Thank you. We will definitely call you physically to our institute.
I look forward to that.
Yeah, we will definitely.
And ma'am, we should acknowledge that our other distinguished speaker, Aishwarya Bhati ma'am, is also with us. Thank you so much for joining, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, your welcome address has already been given up by our professor in charge, but to add more feathers to your cap, I would like to narrate that ma'am has had got a professional standing of 24 years at Supreme Court of India, and she had been additional Solicitor General since June 2020. Ma'am had already been additional Advocate General for the state of UP. This is her practice part. This is her legal part. Now she has an exemplary record of her extracurriculars. To name few, she has been the best student advocate of the country in All India Moot Court competition organized by Campus Law Center in 1998. Ma'am had been the best NCC cadet from Rajasthan. She commanded the Rajasthan NCC contingent in Republic Day Parade, and she was also awarded Cherry Blossom Trophy for the best turned out cadet. Ma'am was also selected for coveted Indo-Canada Youth Exchange Program in 1995. To add more to that,
Eluji, you have to stop now.
Ma'am, just one more to go, ma'am. This is a proud moment for all the women across the world. Adjudged as the best student parliamentarian of the National Youth Parliament, and ma'am is a solo glider pilot, exemplary shooter, horse rider, and so on, etc., etc. We welcome you, ma'am, with folded hands. To please
let me add one thing more.
We salute you, madam. We salute you.
Good evening, Aishwarya.
Yes, we salute you after knowing all your achievements in your life, and from that, Jodhpur, from Jodhpur to Delhi, so many achievements. We really proud of that kind of personality, and really it's a symbol of women empowerment, really. And the meaning of this today's event is going to be, achieved once we are having such kind of personality at our center. So that's why I, on behalf of LC2, salute you again and again.
Very kind of you, sir.
Aishwarya ji, good evening. Let me add to what Belu has said about your so many achievements, that it is she who has fought the battle for women for holding position in armed forces.
Yes, Indian Armed Forces.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
We welcome you, Aishwarya ji.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for such kind words. I am not sure if I deserve, but I am really grateful for the affections and the lovely showering of praises on me. But I must, I have to pick up. I heard the last portions of Poonam Bamba, and of course, we have all seen her in action as a fiery judge of the family court, making, and a system where India has a unique system. I mean, everybody was in the marital rape debate. They were asking, "Are we ready?" I said, India has a lot of unique problems. Every boy earns a handsome salary when his matrimonial ad is given, and every man, when he ends up in the matrimonial court, the family court, every man becomes a pauper working for 5,000 rupees at his uncle's shop. So to really, thank you, ma'am, for sharing your perspectives. And I'm sorry, today's Women's Day, so we have such tight schedules. We are trying to do as much as we can. Women's journeys are really like relay races, I believe, similar to what Bamba ma'am was already saying, that we need to stand up for each other. We need to stand up for each other, and we also, it's not one person's race alone. The earliest of the women who, Justice Anna Chandy, who was the first woman judge, she said that she felt that if I would fail or falter, it would not be just damaging my own career. It would be doing a great disservice to the cause of women. And that is why, it's not just our race. It's like relay race. We have to carry the baton, run our part, and make sure that we pass on the baton to our daughters at the right time, at the right speed, at the right posture, so that this journey can be taken ahead. And this journey is instrumental. I also feel that this journey is not a man versus woman battle. It is a battle with the mindset. In fact, in that judgment that I had the privilege of representing women officers of the Indian Armed Forces, all Army, Air Force, and Navy, there also the Supreme Court highlights that it's not anything else but the battle with the mindset. And it's that mindset of patriarchy, that mindset of stereotype, that really becomes the stumbling block. And also, this stumbling block mindset does not have a gender. It is not like, a patriarchal mindset only men have. It is institutions have this patriarchal mindset. Men, and you'll be surprised, women have this patriarchal mindset. So this is a battle that needs to be fought by all of us against the mindset. And Beluji told me to speak about Constitution and women. So while our Constitution really empowers us, I think our Constitution is a document, it's a grand norm that really prepared us. It's very gender friendly. In fact, it not only advocates equality, but it talks about affirmative action. Today we may not appreciate it as much, but imagine a country 75 years back. Look at the world scenario then. America has only given women the right to vote 100 years back. They celebrated the 100 centenary celebrations of that 19th Constitution amendment of the US Constitution. And that was the beginning. USA is a federal nation. So every state took time to give women right to vote right up to the decades of 1950s and 60s. Switzerland, a country that we know so well, beautiful country, and also we respect it as a democracy. In Switzerland, women got the right to vote in late 70s. And India, when it started its journey 75 years back, we did not even have to blink an eyelid. From the word go, it was an equal place. And not just the universal adult franchise, equal opportunity to public resources, equal opportunity to public opportunities, to public employment, the very significant, so equal opportunity in all the Part 3 rights, which are all fundamental rights. Then the directive principles of state policy, which were to be converted into laws, because we were a new nation, we were a young born democracy. We did not have the wherewithal to have everything that we aspired as laws. So we put it in the directive principles of state policy. And from there, the laws came with regard to equal work for equal pay, free legal aid available to specially all women-specific laws, maternity benefit laws, dowry prohibition laws, child marriage prohibition laws, So all of these places, these laws have really ensured. And like a mention was made with regard to how things have changed. One practical example, let me give you. Maternity Benefit Act, under that act, there is a provision of law that has been made that every institution that employs 50 people has to have a creche, arrangement of creche. Creche came in Supreme Court just 5-6 years back. And let me tell you what the journey was for me, my colleague, women lawyers who were young mothers. So either you have to make a choice, whether you want a profession or you want a child. Which mother should be asked to make a choice within leaving the child alone or with, unattended, or attending to the profession? Your client is not going to trust you with a file if you choose to have give your child priority. But which mother will not give priority to the child? So first make a choice whether you want to be a mother or you want to pursue the profession. Then if you are lucky, you have family support system, you have some wherewithal, some help. Okay, if you don't have family, no wherewithal, then you are scrambling around for getting help and young lawyers have very limited economic means. As a young lawyer, anyways, you are struggling. And if you're a woman, it's like double whammy. You've had it completely. There is, it's very, very difficult and uphill task. And then many of my colleagues, I'll tell you practical examples, they had to bring their children to the court who were brave enough to pursue profession along with children. They would bring their children to court. Children would be waiting in the cars in the parking areas along with any help, and the women would come up to do their matters and go back. And then we had this whole hue and cry. We found out that if you leave somebody in a running car with a running AC for too long, it's bound to the person is bound to get asphyxiated in the car. So then we brought all this, and the Supreme Court had a creche for women lawyers. I'm proud to say that my court has a creche, and then the law came that creches became mandatory. So small step. I mean, creche is not a big thing. Where is it in the constitutional scheme? But see how empowering it gets. How empowering it gets for a woman who does not have to choose, young mother who does not have to choose between a profession and a child. So that is the small step. And I think it's a misnomer when people think that women can be empowered. I think no one can empower a woman. A woman alone can empower herself. All that the society, the family can do is don't clip her wings and make sure that she doesn't have to bother about safety in public spaces, in spaces which she calls home, or protective spaces. Sometimes predators are protectors turning into predators, and sometimes in public spaces you always have to constantly worry about your security. So I think if these areas are covered, today women are in all walks of life. There is no male bastion remaining anymore, whether it is from the space to the Mount Everest, to the depths of the ocean, to the economic world, to the scientific world, to litigation, judiciary. No male bastion is remaining. But only women who are individual cases of excellence are there. Women are not there in the equal proportion that we are there in the population. That is the next step that we must achieve. Of course, it's a social change. It is going to take time, and we all have a very important part to it. And let me just end my thoughts by saying that the biggest mindset change that we can do is we need to see our daughters as assets and not our liabilities. Once we see them as assets, that will change the whole perspective. Now, if anyone has any thoughts or inputs, we can discuss for some time.
Any questions to our distinguished speakers from the audience? Any questions? Ma'am, there is one comment in the chat box, I think from our own learned teacher. Shiva, would you like to read your comment?
Yes, ma'am.
Shiva?
Very nice hearing everybody here. In fact, what ma'am was saying, it resonates so well with us, with all of us, especially we are coming from a middle class background and we are making a mark here for ourselves. Definitely, we have very supportive colleagues and sir and ma'am, everybody. But yet, like I said, it's very easy for anybody to say that, this is why women were made to procreate and not go for careers, because that is the 10 years from 20 to 30 when you're making your career. And it is also easy to have children. Once you cross 30, then you get to hear things like, oh, but you chose for it. So you went for it on your own. This is why it is important that men also understand that women are not talking about themselves, they're talking about the entire humanity. If you stop choosing to have children and only focus on your career, then we'll go extinct. So that's what ma'am said. I completely agree with that. That was all that I had to say.
But let me, yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, Bhati ji,
Ma'am, sir is the constitutional expert of our center.
No,
and
I'm
of the
not
Saket
expert.
Center.
I'm not expert. I'm simply learner.
That's being humble of you.
Yes, I'm not expert because nobody could claim to be expert. I'm equally learner, but you very beautifully and nicely, gave the provisions of constitution, especially related to the fundamental rights and directive principles. And you also talked about what the law is, what the law ought to be, because what the law ought to be covered under directive principles. And in past, the provisions, what were covered under the heading of what the law ought to be, now they are what the law is, like your 86th amendment, right to education, etc., like your maternity relief, etc., what you told. Lastly, you passed one sentence that alone women could become a empower, or could create a empowerment. I think that it's not the alone women, it's the various provisions of the constitution also, which makes the which makes the women empowered women. I think so, because that how you yourself admitted that it's the very short journey, that we covered only 75 years of independence, because in 1950 the constitution was enforced, and the various provisions, and you yourself confess that it's the constitution or the framework of the constitution which granted the franchise right, right to vote. And we can boast, we can claim that it's the Indian constitution, it's the Indian framework constitution who conferred this right, even not in other foreign countries, as you cited the example of Switzerland, that it was conferred in 1970. Madam, that it means that it is not the alone women, because although that like you which are going to talk about the rights of women, which are going to talk about to fight for women, and which you talk about to change the mindset, outlook, and that's the outlook which is based on patriarchy, and that can be changed by the way of education, and that is being changed. But because it is like a very big disease, it's not less than, I should say, cancer, because which creates the conflict in the society, which creates inequality in the society. And that's why that like you feminists, like other feminists, and feminists doesn't mean that alone women. Feminist could become anyone who is having that kind of sentiments, who is having that kind of we could say perceptions, which talks about to empower the women. So it's not only the
I agree. Actually, I
women
agree with you.
which could empower it herself. It's the collective, because it's the education. Education is the best and potent medicine in the society for the purpose of curbing the menace of any kind of evil. Either it is a social evil, and it is a social evil, or it's economical evil, or it's a political evil. Any kind of evil could be, could be curbed, or could be the menace of the disease could be curbed by the application of the drugs.
So, sir, thank you for correcting me.
I've done
Maybe I did not put myself out so clearly. What I meant to say was that society feels that they can empower women.
And
that is not possible. Empowerment of any person.
Madam, it's not alone with the this one disease. There are a lot of diseases other also. Those could not be abolished overnight, because those have been happening in the society for the last 4,000 to 5,000 years in our society. the diseases or the, cancers like disease.
So that this is not an armed revolution.
Those
like
could not be
you-
abolished,
like-
could not be remedied overnight.
See, these are social revolutions, sir.
Yeah.
As a fellow student of Constitution who practices that, I can tell you, you are, of course, a much higher student of Constitution who teaches.
No, not at all, not at all.
But let me tell you, I agree with you totally on this aspect that these are social changes which are, they take generations.
Yeah, it will take, it will take time, madam.
This is not like an armed revolution in Ukraine or Russia that it can happen in 10 days of fighting.
And
this
you know
is
that
going to take each one of us making a difference in our home, starting with our daughters and our sons.
Yeah.
And what Dr. Shiva ma'am was saying with regard to biological clock clashing with our professional journeys, I agree with you, ma'am. It clashes, but then nature did not mean it to disempower us. In nature, my mother always used to say, I also, let me tell you, I also left my profession when I became a mother. I became a mother of young twins, and then I felt that I did not have the courage to carry on in the profession, and I sat at home. I used to go to court only on Mondays and Fridays, and several months I did not attend to my work. And then my mother told me two things. She told me, first thing, she told me that if Jhansi Ki Rani could go to war with her son, then why should your child be a problem for you to go to court? And second thing she told me was, in nature, jo aapne abhi nature ki baat kari na, nature meant it to be in conflict. My mother told me that in nature, the most powerful being is a mother. In any species you look, from an ant to an elephant, it is the most powerful being is a mother. So becoming a mother should not disempower you. It should empower you more. And it should be more, you should be more determined to go on with your journey, with what dreams you have. And if you are persistent in your journey, you get more respect from your children. My children are today all grown up. They are lost friends, and
I totally agree with you.
No, ma'am, absolutely. That's exactly what I was saying. That this is what you are saying is what I believe in. But this is the kind of arguments you get that, oh, this is why you should not, you should make children first and then talk about your career. So this is the argument that we get. But I completely endorse what you are saying. That yes, we have mothers like ours who encourage us. Then definitely nothing can stop us. Thank you so much for the response.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I know that you are running short of time and your next session to attend to. So I would request our Kiran ma'am, if you can spare us 2-3 minutes, Aishwarya ma'am, so that we can request our Kiran Gupta ma'am to give us.
Vageshwari want to say something.
Okay, please, Vageshwari ma'am.
What ma'am has to go say, and then I'll go. But I promise to come back whenever you like, because today I have too many programs.
So
yeah, I know, ma'am. Okay, fine, ma'am. Okay, fine, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being there with us. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Aishwarya ji. Thank you.
Thank you, ji. Thank you.
Belu, Vageshwari want to say something.
Vageshwari ma'am.
कुछ नहीं बस मैम
We can't hear you, Vageshwari.
We can't hear you, ma'am. Your connection is very unstable. Vageshwari ma'am, your connection is very unstable.
Vageshwari madam, हम आपका गाना सुन रहे हैं, बात नहीं सुन रहे कोई गाना सा सुन आ रहा है उधर से.
So actually I'm traveling, so
वही तो मैं कह रहा हूँ, आप लगता है गाना गाकर कोई.
I'm traveling, that must.
Ma'am, can you share your wise words through chat, ma'am? Can you share your wise words through chat?
Left, maybe we'll discuss it some other time.
Okay, ma'am.
Vageshwari, we can't hear you.
We can't.
We are, you know, we are song जो गाना गा रहे हैं मैम.
Your voice is coming in a very musical manner, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So now I request our program director, Dr. Kiran Gupta, to kindly propose her vote of thanks to our present distinguished speaker and also to Aishwarya Bhati ma'am, who has left the program.
A very good evening to all of you, including our distinguished speakers. We are really thankful to the speakers. Both the speakers, Madam Poonam Bamba as well as Aishwarya Bhati, they have explained what is empowerment of women, what is equality of women by giving actual instances, the cases they have faced in the court of law or they have argued in the court of law. This will be very helpful for us as well as for our students. Let me say, once Melinda Gates, he said, a woman with a voice is by definition a strong woman. Give voice to the women. Give the chance to the women to express her opinion, her desire, her views. We will get the strongest women in the world. Why the women are not strongest? Because we are biased against them. And we include both men as well as women. Even women have patriarchal mindset. We need to break this biased mindset. Once we succeed in breaking this, we will make our women more stronger, more outspoken, and more responsible. So the need of the hour is, we should imagine, we should foresee a world which is gender equal world, a world which is free from biases, stereotypes, and discrimination.
Ma'am, you lost your voice in between. Ma'am, it was again in a musical manner. Everybody seems to be so happy on this occasion that we all are in a singing mood, ma'am. Ma'am, and again it is musical, ma'am. We can't hear you properly. Even the instrument can be heard.
And inclusive, male, female, as well as other gender.
Ma'am left the program, I guess. Some connectivity issues. Yes, ma'am. We connected with you again. Ma'am, you are muted. Kiran, ma'am, you are muted, ma'am.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you, ma'am, but last few minutes, it was like a singing sound to us.
Okay.
So we lost what you said, ma'am.
What I want to emphasize, I was saying is there is a need to break the bias against the women. And our society should be inclusive society. We should give equal opportunity, equal voice to all gender, whether it is male or female or third gender. That is the need of the hour. And once there is no difference on the basis of gender, although our constitution says there should be no discrimination on the ground of gender, but in our society it is there. We are changing and we will change further also. We are changing very fast. The biases which were there when we were children are no more there today. And in the next generation, there will be much less biases. We are hoping for the best. And by this change, we will definitely within 1 or 2 generations, our children will be equal, whether they are male or female. And our children, both male and female, will get equal opportunity. So once again, I would like to thank our speakers, Madam Poonam Bamba ji. I have heard her number of times and I was very, very impressed once she shared her mediation experiences with the members of the higher judiciary in Delhi Judicial Academy, and the way she has presented the mediation process, it was awesome. So I requested Belu to call you for our benefit and for the benefit of our students, and we and our students, I am sure, are very much benefited by your sharing of the actual cases before you. We will keep on troubling you, madam, We need you. Our students need you. We will keep on troubling you. On behalf of Law Center 2 and on my personal behalf, I thank you for sparing your valuable time for us. I thank Aishwarya Bhati also to be with us despite having too much of programs. She already told us that she will be free. She can give only from 6:30 to 7. And because she had a session till 6:30 and she will have a session after from 7 onwards. We are highly thankful to her also. We are thankful to our professor in charge who has permitted us to organize this program and is there throughout the program, guided us with his own thoughts, especially relating to jurisprudence and constitution. We are thankful to all the participants. We are thankful to Belu. She is a part of the it is actually she who has organized this program. I am just her assistant.
No, I'm always under your guidance. Never.
We are thankful to Ajay Soneman for taking care of this all the technicalities of organizing the seminar. Thanks to all my colleagues and all my students. We will keep on having such programs later also. Thank you all.
Thanks to our Madam Kiran Gupta.
Thank you.
And our other
Thank
senior colleagues.
you, Poonam ji.
Thank you so much for your
Thanks,
kind
and our
words.
younger
We
colleagues
will
also.
call you. We will meet in our institution.
Sival, mute yourself. Sival can mute.
ये तो माफी मंगाओगे इस पे ऐसे थोड़ी मांगे सॉरी बोल
sorry everyone for
सॉरी बुलवाएंगे बच्चे
Thank you so much.
I
Poonam
am
ma'am.
doing my wife's job. I am doing my wife's job and celebrating Women's Day.
क्या
It is the
बात है
best way, I guess, to celebrate it.
नहीं यार वो बताने की जरूरत नहीं हमने देख रखा है रियली यू आर गुड फेमिनिस्ट
चिंता मत करो शिवाल सर आपके लिए मजदूर दिवस आ रहा है
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
So we have sincerely taken all your advices
Thank
that
you,
even man should
thank you all of
appreciate
you.
in celebrating. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, madam,
so much.
again.
Thank you.